It all started with that community survey our church got involved in. It was hard work knocking on doors throughout the community, but I thought it was a good idea, and I went along with it. It was a pretty complete job, too. We talked to city planners, welfare agencies, school officials, the police department, judges in the municipal and juvenile courts, and just about everybody who's supposed to know what's going on in our city. It wasn't easy, believe me, trying to find out the facts about the people in our community that our church is supposed to serve. It was an all-out effort that really kept the wheels spinning at our church and at the other churches in our area that were taking part in the survey.
Well, John, what's the good word?
Well, I'm not sure how good it is, but, well, there it is, the last of the survey. Oh, man, am I glad that's over.
Have a chair, and thanks. Now we can start working.
Start working? That's all we've been doing these last few weeks.
I know what you mean, but I think it'll be worth it.
I don't know. The more I climb stairs, push doorbells, and had doors slammed in my face, the more I wondered what all this has to do with our church.
John, we have to find out the facts about the people in the community so we'll know how the church can serve them.
Pastor, I'm not complaining about the facts. It's what some of our people think they're going to do about them that bothers me.
Well, remember, we're only in the discussion and analysis stage.
Well, just the same, when I hear what some of the others want to do, I'm about ready to blow my top. Well, frankly, I don't get it. Just what is a church, anyway? Our minister was the driving force behind the survey, and he put in more effort and longer hours than any of us. I had to admire him even though I didn't see eye to eye with him when the facts were all in. I mean, well, after all that work and after all the sore feet and the bruised egos and weeks of searching out the names and locations of all those people, it was the interpretation of what to do with all the things the survey turned up that I disagreed with.
How you doing? Hi, Dad. What do you think?
Hey, that's crazy, wouldn't you say, Dad?
Crazy. What is it?
The message is right there. Love. Can't you see it?
You see it?
Well, sure, Dad. It's plain as day.
If you say so. I think it's upside down. Make yourself at home, Jack.
Thanks.
I'll see you boys later. Hey!
Hey, how about a fast set? You're not going to work. I thought you wanted to get away from all that.
The printer's ink of my forefathers courses through my veins. It's my life, Doug, my one true joy.
That's why I took the job as editor of the college newspaper. And you're going to help me write a story. A story? What kind of story? My first week home in 6 months and you want me to spend it acting as your leg man? Oh, no. If you think I'm going to spend my time snooping around musty libraries or quizzing the establishment types on what they think about the younger generation, no thanks.
I've got a great idea for a whole series of articles. What's the hottest subject on campus today? I'll tell you, religion. Everybody's asking the ultimate questions. Everybody's searching, right?
Yeah, in a way, I guess they are.
Well, the whole psychedelic movement, drugs, the trend to mysticism and the Eastern religions. It's the in thing.
Well, what do you plan to do?
A whole series of articles exploring in depth all the contemporary religions and cults, starting with this thing called Christianity, and that's where you come in.
Well, how can I help? I mean, there are thousands of books you can read, ministers you could interview.
Oh, I don't want that. I've read all the books, some of them anyway. All the way from the existentialist to the fundamentalist. No, what I want is a good look at a typical church in a typical American town. I want to see how Christianity works right down in the nitty-gritty of life. Because if it doesn't work there, then all the big words in the books don't mean anything, do they?
And you've selected our church and my family for your guinea pig, eh? Okay. But I don't know where to tell you to start.
Anything. Anything that the church people are doing.
Let's see. Dad said something about some of the members of the church were coming over tonight for some sort of committee meeting. But I don't think you'd be interested in that.
I am interested.
Okay. I'll ask Dad if we can sit in as observers. Here you are, Mom. Still interested?
Very. But I'm counting on you to fill me in on some of the gaps in what they were discussing. What comes next?
Well, I think they're going to have a little more discussion and then have a vote.
Perhaps we'd better get started. Ready?
Fine.
If we can all find our seats again, it's time to conclude our discussion for tonight. At this time, I'm going to ask Pastor Peterson to summarize our discussion so far and place the issue squarely before us, as only he can.
Well, thank you, George, for that vote of confidence. You've all seen the photographs that we had taken during our survey. I'm sure they will help to keep alive in your minds some of the many pressing needs of the people in our community that the survey uncovered. People with whom it is difficult for us to communicate because they are deaf, and yet they need the gospel too. We should minister to them. Just think how many working mothers with small children there are right in our congregation. Well, our survey revealed several times that number within reach of our church. Many of these families have no contact with the church now. These are people we have not been reaching with our present program. The question we now face is, how can we best help them? All of you know what's been happening out east and south of our city. Hundreds of new homes springing up everywhere. What about the families who are moving into these churchless communities? Then let us consider the young people whose lives have already been tainted with police records. Perhaps if we had ministered to this young person sooner, he would not be where he is today. And there are many others. Those with problems of illiteracy and, well, we could go on and on. These people need our Christian love and concern. The question now is, how are we going to respond to their needs? What specific action are we going to recommend to the congregation for the coming year? In short, what kind of church are we going to be? I want to share a dream with you, a vision that I have for our church. And I want to capsule that dream into one phrase: the involved church. Some have called it the servant church or the ministering church, but in any case, it all means the same thing. It means our church, our congregation of people, ministering to human needs, both physically and spiritually. Becoming deeply involved in things that the church has never been involved in before. On our part, it means personal commitment, personal service, all in the spirit and love of Christ, with him at the very center of all we do. This is the gospel. This is the good news in action. This is my dream. What does that mean to all of us here tonight? It means there are people out there who are disillusioned and hurt. Many who have no faith in God or in themselves. They have no hope. We need to bring them hope. And so, in conclusion, I would like to suggest that we recommend to the congregation a program that will meet these needs. Now, are there any further questions or comments?
Yes. I think we should go slow on this. We need time to think about it. Some of us were talking. A lot of this is, well, it's a new direction we're taking, and I'm not sure we should go on with it. After all, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Others who aren't here tonight would agree. I think we should discuss it very seriously before we try anything like this. In fact, there are some things the church ought not to be doing. Well, certainly we're not a welfare agency. So, I move we postpone a decision until we've had more time to study and think this whole business through.
Hey, man, already?
Good morning. Fantastic day.
Do you know what time it is?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to transcribe some of my notes from last night's meeting before they got stale.
Man, when you're working on a story, you are a holy terror.
Oh, I don't know about the holy, but I am a terror. Especially when I smell a fight developing.
Where are my slippers? Had them last night.
Oh.
Hey, did you say a fight? What kind of a fight?
Oh, come on. Don't tell me you didn't see it. The fight between people like your dad against the pastor and the school teacher, George Chapman.
Hey, Jack, I wouldn't call that a fight.
Well, call it what you like, but just what is your father's view of the church?
I'm not sure I know.
Maybe you should ask him.
Job?
No, I thought we might have lunch together.
Well, that's nice of you to offer to buy me a meal, son.
Yeah. Oh, sure, Dad, sure. And you can give me an advance on my allowance.
I knew there was a catch. Anyway, I can't make it for lunch today. I'm tied up. Where's your buddy?
Well, Jack, he's busy. He's writing a story for his paper.
Doug, I've been meaning to talk to you about Jack. What kind of boy is he?
What do you mean, Dad?
Well, some of the things he says, he's something of a radical, isn't he?
Jack? Oh, no. In fact, on the campus, most of the real radicals consider him something of a square.
Oh.
He's just got an inquiring mind, that's all.
Well, I certainly hope that's all. I wouldn't want you running around with one of those wild-eyed revolutionary types.
Dad? I'm doing a little inquiring of my own today.
Well, about what?
About those things the pastor was talking about. They sounded like good ideas to me. Why were you against them?
Well, there's more to it than you might think. Now, there are a lot of good ideas, a lot of good causes and projects somebody ought to do something about. I don't know who, but I'm sure it's not the church's business.
What is the church's business, Dad?
Why, you know what it is, Doug. Well, the church's work is, well, to preach the gospel, to win people to Christ.
But is that all? What about the things Pastor Peterson talked about? Like the church being involved in people's lives. Didn't Jesus do more than preach and teach? Didn't he involve himself in the lives of all the people around him? With those that were sick or hungry or all mixed up?
Well, later, Doug. We'll talk about it. Later, all right?
Sure, Dad. Later.
Well, how do you like it?
Oh, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I need a few more facts. I thought I'd like to interview your pastor.
I think that's a great idea. I'll ask Dad if we can go along with the committee tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Where are they going?
Oh, they're going down to talk to Judge Amory at juvenile court. Hey, Jack. You got 2 right feet.
Oh, well, what do you know? Give me.
You know, I can't figure you out. I mean, this story's got you all turned on.
Oh, well, I'm intrigued, I have to admit. You know, I wasn't brought up in the church like you were, so everything I know is, well, secondhand. And, or what I've read or what I've gathered in some fraternity bull sessions, which you'll have to agree aren't always perfectly objective.
And now?
Well, what I've learned since I got here isn't just theory, it's for real. Like this idea of the involved church the pastor has. Man, if that ever caught on with the millions of Christians in the world, kaboom!
Yeah.
What's the matter?
I was just thinking about Dad.
Yeah, he is a bit of a problem. Are there many like him?
He's a terrific guy, Jack, and a real Christian.
Sure. Maybe I just don't know what a Christian is.
Would you mind pacing a different route the next time around? You're beginning to wear a path in the carpet. What is it, dear? What's bothering you?
Well, I'm worried about Doug and that friend of his. That boy's something of a radical, if you ask me.
Is that really it? Or is it some of the things the committee is proposing? Why is it, John? Why are you having such a struggle about it?
Can't you see what's happening? All these fancy ideas, they're just side issues. I'm not opposed to the church doing things for people, trying new methods.
It sounds as though you are.
No, I just want us to stick to the main job. If we just concentrate on preaching the word and let these problem people become Christians, well, then all these problems would take care of themselves.
Well, can't we do both?
Before concluding, I'd like to read you something that came across my desk the other day. It sums up my feeling about what I've been saying. It quotes a divorce court judge. He says, "Whenever I have to preside over the breaking up of a family, I cannot escape the feeling that I may be instrumental in contributing to the increasing number of cases which are flooding our juvenile courts. Statistics indicate that the great majority of juvenile court cases grow out of broken homes. The great need in our society today is for agencies in our communities which will carry on where the parents fail." Frankly, this is why I feel that your coming here today is somewhat of an answer to prayer. Because we have been trying for a long time to get this community interested in rehabilitating juveniles with very little success. We need the help of citizens like you who are willing to get involved with these youngsters. Do you know that here in our city, 1 out of 9 youths between the ages of 10 and 18 ends up in court? And that 1 out of 6 of the boys in that age group will get into some kind of legal trouble. I have always believed that the Christian people have the best motivation, have the most to offer these mixed up kids of any group of people in our community. All I can say is, when do you wish to start? I have at least a dozen cases I can recommend right now.
Well, Judge Amory, we haven't... That is, it isn't definite yet. Our committee is still working on the problem.
I see. Reverend, I hope nothing stands in the way of your decision. Knowing the problem, I don't see how any Christian can fail to see it as a mission field.
Yes, Mary? Oh, John Bradley, yes, of course, put him on.
Hello, Pastor. I've been wondering, well, could you spare some time this evening? I'd like to have a good talk with you.
Why, certainly, John. I'd be glad to see you. Would you like to come over here?
Well, that'd be good. Would 8 o'clock be all right with you? Fine. I'll see you then.
That's it.
What?
It's done. Finished. Do you want to hear it?
Your editorial? What's the rush?
Oh, man, we leave for school in the morning. That means I have an edition to get out like yesterday. Here, I'll just read you some of the highlights. The Christian religion's dynamic potential for reshaping the world can hardly be questioned. How's that for an opening? In spite of all the criticism so fashionable today, and in spite of our own frequently expressed discontent with that hallowed and moss-covered institution called the church, we have seen something new and exciting. Still with me?
It's great so far.
Oh, be patient. The axe is about to fall. We have seen something new and exciting. A vitalizing wind is stirring. The idea of involvement is struggling for expression. But there is still ample room for skepticism. As long as there are church members who use their faith as an escape from reality, as a hiding place from life's tensions, or a shelter from the dust and din of the world, there is plenty of room for doubt. Judging by one grassroots example, we have to ask, do church members themselves know what it means to be Christians, or what the church really is? In the words of a cynic of old, we say, "Physician, heal thyself."
Well?
I couldn't sleep last night thinking about it. And after that meeting today in Judge Amory's office, I've sweated over it. I still can't get it straight. You know, I guess it boils down to something Doug asked me the other day. What is a church?
How did you answer it?
Well, my idea doesn't jibe with anybody else's, it seems.
What is your idea of a church, John? I'd like to hear it.
I don't think I've ever tried to put it in words. To me, the church is, well, it's something I've been a part of, and it's been a part of me all my life. It's a place to worship God, to hear His word. A place that's holy and set apart. And the Christian's duty is to help make that place what God wants it to be. A place where people can find Him. Well, I guess that's the heart of it for me.
Well, that's fine, John. And it's all very true, as far as it goes. But you seem to think of the church primarily as a place, some kind of institution that never changes. I think of it primarily as people. The church is a congregation of people, yes, but even more, it's a congregation of ministers.
Ministers?
Yes. The word minister means to serve others. Now, you spoke of a Christian's duty. Well, the duty of a Christian goes far beyond merely keeping the church building pleasant, or keeping the preacher paid, or listening to sermons, or going to Bible classes. Every Christian has a ministry to perform.
Well, I suppose I have heard all this before.
John, I wish you could see what some other Christian people are doing. Some of the ministries with which they're becoming involved. Why, listen, there are lay people who are volunteering to help start churches in unchurched areas. Men and women who are serving as foster parents for juveniles. Working men who are using their skills to help mission fields, both here and abroad. Now, those people are involved, John. They see the church not only as something to protect, a piece of architecture to inhabit, they are trying to preserve and maintain the church. They are trying to be the church.
Well, how would you define the church, then?
The way the New Testament describes it, as the body of Christ. Yes, Christians are the body of Christ. That means that Christ is at work in this world through his church. We are sent into the world with a mission, in order that we might do the work that Christ would do if he were here now.
Pastor, you've given me an awful lot to think about. All I can say is, we've got plenty of work to do.
It's been great, Doug, just great. I know you're not terribly happy about my story, though. Sorry about that.
I just think you need more facts. You didn't dig deep enough, that's all.
Hi, fellas, mind if I come in?
Sure, Dad. We're just about packed.
Yeah, and I've been meaning to ask you, Mr. Bradley, if you'd like to have this.
Well, sure. That's very nice of you, Jack. Before you go, there's something I want to say. I want to thank you, both of you, for what you've done in the last few days.
What, Dad? What did we do?
Well, you asked questions. You made me think.
Sure, Dad. Anytime.
Jack, I hope you come back again soon. Pay us another visit.
Well, thanks. I'd like to very much.
When you do, I think you'll find our church involved in a lot of things we've never tackled before. Oh, I'll see you boys downstairs. Huh?
Okay, Dad.
What is this?
Jack, this is the church.